I imagine that you want to build the most optimum brain possible. As well, you'd like to see the children around you develop empathy, 3D thinking, and to have access to literature and literacy. I'm going to share with you how it's been my experience that ASL Tales books builds better brains, and share with you 3 things. What the research says on how learning sign language can benefit all of us, regardless of our age. Number 2, how ASL Tales specifically builds better brains. And 3, how you taking access to the incentives to this project will fuel multilingual learning around the country, bring these books into research centers, put them in your hands and into those of hands of the children that need them the most, and allow me and my team to build better curriculum and children's activity pages to go with them. As well, you'll have access to me as an educator to support you for the next year. Okay, how does learning sign language build a better brain? What does the research say? Well, it appears that for the last 24 years, since 1990, researchers, Drs. Acrodolo and Goodwin, have been working with the Head Start programs and the National Institute on Health, looking at how young children's brains work. This is what they found. Number 1, babies who are taught sign language and use it are less frustrated than their peers. Number 2, they have a superior connection with their caregivers. Very cool. Number 3, when tested out in the 3rd grade, they have an up to 12-point IQ gain. And lastly, empathy. It appears that those children have far superior markers of empathy. And why might that be? Perhaps it's because sign language, being a 3D language, gives us access to the human emotion on the face and within the body. And lastly, as adults, when we learn a second language, we have a 4.5 times less chance of developing Alzheimer's. All good stuff. Now, the books, ASL Tales. Not only are they beautifully illustrated classics, retold, as well as original stories, but they come with something called the clues on these DVDs. All of them are done in American Sign Language by a native deaf speaker, a talented actor or actress. They come in up to 10 spoken languages, and the clues that you click on explain why it's being signed as it is. It's like having your very own deaf instructor in your home. How did I become involved with this? My name is Pam, and I have been using sign language for 45 years. As well, I've been a teacher of the deaf for 30, a professor for 14. I taught my own children baby sign language as infants, and I was a homeschooler. While being a professor, I worked with a child study development center in rural New Hampshire, and I was always looking for ways to move sign language forward in those classrooms from infant all the way up through age 5. Those kids develop facility in 1 or 2 words, more, eat, all done, cookie, and so on. However, I was not seeing the development of real language. Linda Acrodolo agrees with me that these books, ASL Tales, picks up where the Baby Sign Language program leaves off. So here I am, one day, about a year ago, walking into a classroom with noisy 3- and 4-year-olds running around a classroom. I walked over to the DVD player to put in the ASL Tales DVD. And the children all scurried over to sit around the braided rug. They were climbing over one another, very curious, and they watched that sign language with rapt attention. I instructed the teaching assistant I was working with to show one of the DVDs throughout the semester to see what would happen. We didn't have access to native deaf speakers, but we did have access to ASL Tales books, and this is what happened. Those children started to develop their own stories and to use the language. I was fascinated. I remember one bob-haired little girl named Karina, adorable. She came up to me at the end of the semester and was able to tell an entire princess story. She was so proud. Her mom cried, and that little girl was able to share those stories with her deaf cousins. Through these incentives, you're going to have access to ASL Tales books and find out for yourself how I believe ASL Tales books builds better brains. I look forward to hearing from you, to sharing a monthly e-newsletter, a link for an ebook that is a teacher-parent guide along with children activity books, and for you being part of a feel-good project that brings multicultural, multilingual education across this country. I look forward to hearing from you and giving shout-outs through social media. Thanks so much for your support. Bye-bye.